we're
Yeah, but a
talking
little
about
further, it's
Bristol.
going to
Yeah.
Bristol.
Okay, yeah.
They're going a little further past teams going on. And West Virginia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On two sides.
Okay. The girls are playing out there somewhere today.
That means really.
Yeah, James River.
Oh, yeah, because that's a ways. I think
Isn't that in Bedford County? Well, maybe
they-
I'm wrong.
That really needs to, what, tonight?
Yeah.
You can't see her.
Oh.
Because, yeah.
Okay, is she not gonna be?
No, the walker's coming. That was.
Because I'm so short, I can't see anything.
You would have jacked you up.
Now it's last week.
They used to do that.
I have joy in my heart, that's why.
I don't know.
Let's see.
No, I still can't see it. But it's okay.
It's supposed to be something. They used to jack my seat down.
I need to put feelings.
They did.
Good evening. I would like to call to order our January 2024 school board meeting. Welcome and Happy New Year. We are going to now have our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Williamson will do that for us, and then our invocation will be with Dr. Talley. Please stand.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your goodness. Thank you, God, for bringing us over to a new year, 2024. You're walking with you, God, and we're very thankful. We have so much to be thankful for, even though we've had some losses and some sickness. Our good days outweigh our bad days. We thank you, God, even for the tornado that touched down on this week, how you spared our students to be home safe and our families to be safe, while many others in the South lost their lives and property. But again, God, you're good, and we just thank you for it. Now, God, we just pray that you continue to bless our young people. Thank you for the challenges. Thank you for the excitement, their winning ways, the intellectual achievement and brilliance. We thank you, God, for having such a talented group of young people and great teachers to mentor them. We thank you for the parents who labor hard to make sure they have all that they need, and grandparents and family members who comfort them. And we thank you, God, for this great board. Now, God, as we come tonight, we pray that the board make the best decisions to help this great community to be the best that we can be. Continue to give us wisdom and strength, and bless us now. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, do we have any registered speakers? Okay. All right, we're going to move on to community focus then. This evening we have United Way, so a representative from United Way to come in and discuss with us their free tax preparation. And I think we have Mr. Craig McCroskey, is that correct? Please come to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Try not to take too much of your time because I hear you have a riveting budget discussion. So thank you again, on behalf of United Way. I'm Craig McCroskey again. I head up our financial stability and empowerment programs at United Way. And I just wanted to quickly talk to you about those programs and then specifically highlight one that we're rolling out right now. So our purpose is to provide residents with education, skills, and support to help them succeed financially. Top goal is to help people lift up and empower them in breaking the cycle of poverty. We do that through a variety of financial management tools, workshops, credit counseling, services. One of the formats that your students participate in that we do is Dollars and Cents Fair. And I know, Dr. Talley, you're quite familiar with that. I've seen you there, where we bring high school seniors together from both the city and the county. They're given an occupation of their choice and what that income will be. And then they go around to different tables, put together a budget, and discover what their parents and guardians have been doing for them all these years, that facing the reality of life before they have to move out. Last year when I was here, we spoke about a housing stability program we had just started. We are happy to say that we work with people in the city and the county to help them maintain their residence. We work very closely, quite extensively, with our coalition, housing coalition, include Felicia Preston, who helps us make sure that we keep your students' families housed. So it's a very rewarding program for us. But tonight, I'm here to speak about our free tax preparation. And you all have a pamphlet in front of you, so I'm holding it this way so everybody behind me can see it. Go to our website, you can learn more about it. But basically, we've been doing this for over 12 years. We have about 25 volunteers who come and do this service. They're all certified, trained by the IRS to offer this service to people for free. Last year, we did over 1,600 returns. When you think about what a person pays to have a tax return done by a paid preparer, that's saving estimated somewhere around $400,000 for our citizens here to get this done for free. It's available for residents up to $60,000 income. That's IRS regulated limits that we have to set to. We do have a flyer for it, as I mentioned, and we'd like to ask to advertise this to the city school employees as well as have it sent home with the electronic mechanism to send home. We also have a Spanish version of that as well. And it's a fairly straightforward process. There's a number on here they call, they set up an appointment to bring their forms in, come in, meet with a counselor, do all the intake. In some cases, we prepare the form right while they're there. In some cases, we'll work on it, they'll come back, sign it, review, sign, and it'll be filed electronically and done. We encourage everybody to do direct deposit if they're getting a refund. And we have programs at United Way also to help people get banked if they're not. So tonight, I guess the request is just to be able to provide these pamphlets or flyers in electronic form and be able to have them distributed to employees and sent home. And we'll get that to
Kelly,
Kelly.
check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I always enjoy the dollar and cents program, especially having 9 grandkids, because when the kids figure out that they can't just work any job and pay their rent,
Right.
buy a car, and everything, it's just fun that they're not gonna have any money left at the end of the month.
No doubt, we always have somebody that says, I'm gonna go home and thank my parents tonight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we realize what happened.
Great
Thank you,
program.
appreciate your participation in that as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you. All right, next we're moving on to our awards and recognitions. Miss Allen, you're gonna have our robotics teams and recognize those for us? They're excited, they're coming,
They
they're
are
excited.
coming. Good evening, my name is Tammy Allen, of course, I'm the coordinator for Math, STEM, and Science for Martinsville City School District. We're very blessed to have your support and the district's support for our STEM programs, and you're going to see a bunch of wonderful young people. They went to compete on December 9th. We had 4 teams.
Wow.
Yes, one at Martinsville Middle School, that's absolute zero. They brought home first place for innovation project. We have 3 elementary in Division I, and the Tree Huggers brought home core values for first place. There were over 100 teams competing, so tremendously proud of them, and I'm going to let them present to you and share with you everything that they did. But thank you again. Thanks to the parents for all your support, and we're excited to see what happens next.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start. Yes, the Tree Huggers, everyone.
Hi,
Hey.
good evening. I'm Emily Darrell. I teach at Patrick Henry, and we have a few members of the Tree Huggers here. Tonight, like Miss Allen said, we brought home first place core values at the state tournament, which was very competitive. I think there were 54 teams in Division I. So they worked super hard through the whole day. You have to be on your A game the whole time you're there because you never know who's watching. And so I'll just let them say just a little bit about either the season or the state tournament, and then we'll roll right on.
Will you please say your name and tell us what grade you're in?
My name is Cavani Forrest and I'm in 4th grade.
My name is Jade Holland Dallas. I'm in 5th grade.
Nice to meet you all.
Do you want to tell them anything about the tournament?
Yeah. I want to talk about what my favorite thing was a part about state. State, I really love. I experienced most, a lot of people, like a lot of new people at different schools, and I actually had the chance to talk to them and see what their project was about. They also visited our booth to come and so that we can share our project with them too. And I liked how we showed our project to the other classmates, like the other students in the booths, and that was my favorite. That was my most, like, probably was my favorite part about state.
Great.
Wonderful.
Jay, do you want to share something?
My favorite part of state was about like meeting new people and seeing how the other people had like their project, and it was really fun to see new people about like their like some people had these different things to like to help the water and like stuff like that.
That's great. Very helpful.
All right, you guys have any questions?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And next we have the Mind Shifters.
Hello.
I am Erica Crockett. I am the coach of these lovely children, and I teach first grade. This is my third season coaching, and this is probably my favorite team so far. And
Introduce yourselves.
My name is Aubrey Kirby and I'm in 4th grade. My name is Adelaide Brett and I'm in 4th grade. My name is Jassia Norman, I'm in 5th grade. My name is Remington Crockett and I'm in 5th grade.
well, this is our project. Y'all can talk, y'all can talk. You can go up and show them.
Our project is a VR headset. People can go to the happy place so they can relax. And there's different codes that they can scan with their phone. And you just place your phone in here and it will do the different natures.
We came up with this we realized that teachers and students are stressed at school and they want to go to their happy place. So they did a survey and we found out that the beach, most people's happy place. So one of those QR codes is there. You can scan on your phone, place it into here, and
then you also put scratches and stickers at the nose part. And then there were also things like headphones and sensory items.
So these are household items, so that's what's so cool.
and Miss Felicia Preston came and they presented to her and she loved it.
I had a chance to do this with them at the competition at the middle school, and it was fun.
Did you go to your happy place?
I went to my happy. She picked it out for me, and I think we did the mountains.
The mountains.
It was
Oh,
really
that's
nice.
great.
It was very good.
It was fun to watch her do it.
Yeah, because she was leading me around the whole time. I couldn't see, so it was wonderful.
Right.
Would you guys like to view the sensory?
Yeah.
And they made the stickers themselves.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Hope
you.
you all had fun. When they're finished, we'll return your parts.
We just want to keep.
Don't let
it
Dr.
simple.
Challenge take you.
Yeah, don't let
Right.
them, no, they make it easy. Right.
That is so cool.
Well, thank you
Thank you,
very
thank
much.
you guys so much.
The Bot Squad.
Hello, my name is Mason Wright and I'm in 8th grade. My name is Riley De Jesus and I'm in 5th grade. My name is Bentley Williamson and I'm in 5th grade.
So I'm Kim Ramirez. This is my 3rd year coaching robotics for the city, and my co-coach Heather Hoffman. This is her 1st year coaching. So we're really proud of our team. We had a lot of newcomers to robotics, so we had some challenges to overcome. We're kind of just learning what to do as far as them. So we're really proud that they were able to make it to state, and they're gonna tell you a little bit about what they've done this year.
When our team first started working together, we had to overcome a lot of obstacles. We didn't have a lot of experience, and so we had to work on focusing, cooperating with each other, and working as a team together. When we were at regionals, we had many ups and downs throughout the day. We were very surprised and excited when we learned that we won first place in robot design and that we were moving on to the state competition.
At the state competition, we knew we were coming in as underdogs. We worked harder that day than we had all season. While our presentation struggled a bit, we definitely improved on robot performance.
Yeah, we got better each round, and ended up with our season's best score of 225. While we may not have came home with any trophies, we were so proud of how much we've improved.
That's awesome.
Very good.
We're proud too. We're proud.
So proud.
And our middle school team, absolute zero. I'm Lizzie Fulcher. I teach at Patrick Henry, but I've been a robotics coach for, I can't remember how many years, but a long time.
Long time.
I'm Liz Lynch. I'm the STEM teacher at Patrick Henry, and I've also been coaching for a really long time.
My name is Bridget Brent. I'm in 7th grade. I've been in robotics for 4 years.
You can start talking.
Okay. Robotics is important because it teaches us about problems in our world and innovative ways to solve them. Also, another reason why robotics is important is because it teaches us kindness, and even if nobody's looking, you should still do kind things like picking up trash when nobody's looking. My last reason why robotics is important to us in our world is that because it teaches us new skills and techniques like coding, fairness, kindness, and problem solving.
I'm Corey Robertson. I'm in 8th grade. I've been in robotics for 3 years. And I think that state was like really great because we got to interact with other teams and meet other teams, and we got to see other people's projects and what other people have learned during the season. And the campus was also really great.
I'm Noah Wright. I'm in 8th grade, and I've been doing robotics for 5 years, I think. Our missions on the board, that we specially chose each of them based on a bunch of different factors, the most important of which are the point value and how close they were to the robot base. Obviously, you want the more points, so you gotta go for the ones that have the higher point value, and you don't want to have too far away from the base, so it don't take too much time. So, but some smaller reason that we had to think about is that, sorry. But some other reason we had to think about was how we could use our current attachments that we have on the missions, and if we needed to build any new attachments for the missions that we're thinking about doing.
My name is Kyla Stewart. I'm in 6th grade, and I've been in robotics for 2 years. And I'll be talking about our robot design. So our robot design, we have passive attachments, which means they're pinless and that you can easily put them on and off. We use passive attachments because it's easier for us to move around on the board, and it takes less time than switching on and off of our robot parts. At first, for our robot design, we started to use sensors, but the board, it had too many colors, so we couldn't do it.
Hi, I'm Maya Williams. I'm in 6th grade, and I've been in robotics for 2 years. I'm going to be talking about our problem for our project. Our problem is that styrofoam is going to the landfill each day, and affects our water supply, our food supply, and causes all sorts of medical issues. Over 5 billion pounds of styrofoam is going to the landfill, and it's being banned over 13 U.S. states.
Hi, my name's Hudson Grant, and some of the experts that we met in robotics, we met with the mayor,
Mayor Jones, and we told him about our project. We talked to him about it, and he said that he liked our project and that he thinks it's going to do good. We've also met with Travis Clemens, we've met with Amanda Hackenberg, and we've met with Kathy, a chemist from, I think, Virginia College. Can't remember where, but
My name, My name is Mariah Bowden. I'm in 6th grade and I've been doing robotics for 3 years. Our solution to this problem is charms made of dissolved styrofoam. The acetone changes a large block of styrofoam into a smaller shape which can be molded using resin molds, and we even added resin. The charms have different designs, colors, shapes, and we even gave them out at our competitions to make them into bracelets, necklaces, keychains, and more.
Hi, my name is Nina Giles. I've been in robotics, in 6th grade. I've been in robotics for 3 years. I think robotics is a good experience because we get to know each other and we have communication and know what we like. And having fun, not being serious all the time, just having a little fun. Being yourself, not trying to hide your true colors or who you are and how you act. Using teamwork. In my opinion, teamwork is very needed because some people don't get along. And not judging each other how we act, look, or how we think, or just how we are as a person. Learning new things, learning how to program a robot, or just learning new things. And especially our coaches for being understanding and helpful during robotics.
So these guys are awesome. They came away with first place for their project at state. There were 59 teams in Division, 58 teams in Division 2. So then there aren't many public school teams. So I think that speaks volumes for all of these teams that made it that far, and that they were competitive, and 2 teams came away with the first place. So that's pretty awesome.
Really good job, guys. We will be going further.
Possibly. Okay, so here's the deal. They have 7 slots for invitationals and to move on. And we didn't get the championship, so we're not going to get the first 6. There's 1 wild card slot that we haven't heard about yet. But when I talked to another team, they heard in February. So the places that we could be invited to would be Australia, Texas, Massachusetts, and California. So that one of those we may get an invitation, and then we'll have to figure it out. But we're not quite done.
Well, we're excited. We're excited, and we want you to go. The board can see these are the things that our young people can do. There's no school in the area, and they know that because when they get there, they don't see anybody else that excels like our young people and our teachers in robotics. Nobody, period, point blank. And they get there and they're the only ones from this area. And then they win first place and second and third places. You guys are just tremendous. So proud. Absolutely. That's all I can say. I'm just very proud. And we're not finished. We're going to do some greater things in robotics.
I just want to add that Martinsville City Schools has made such an impact on FIRST Robotics. I mean, just all of the head people in FIRST, they know us. They know, they speak highly of us. They always have great things to say. They always, kind of support us and whatever. So I just think it's really cool that we have made such a impact on them just as well as FIRST Robotics has made an impact on all of us. So that's wonderful.
When we get our gym, we'll host our own on a larger scale. Promise.
There we go.
Much longer.
All right. Congratulations.
So proud.
Thank you so much. You never know when you're going to hear that.
Right. I did. Thank you.
Great job in class. Thank you.
All right, next under awards and recognitions. Our kids are smart.
Yes.
The month of January is Principals Appreciation, and we had conflicting dates as to when in January, but we appreciate our principals every day and all the time. So thank you very much to our principals. We'd like to call them up and give them a gift and to say thank you. So the principals would come forward, please.
I'd like to call forth the following principals if they're here. And Dr. Dixon, I know, is in class tonight, but we want to recognize him. Dr. Renee Brown. You would come and stand and remain standing, please. Ms. Sheila Williams. Ms. Cameron Cooper. And Ms. Alma Laura is working tonight too. Actually, her school had an event. But we want to say thank you for all of your hard work. Just seeing you weekly and just hanging out in your schools, especially for allowing me to hang out with you. The work that you do, you have to do so many things and multitask at one time. We're just very appreciative of what you do and want to acknowledge your work this week. The success we've had, 8 years straight accreditation, all the accolades, the robotics, the sports, all these things come through you. It's because you work so hard. And so we really appreciate you and what you do. We could not do this job without you. Could not excel like we do without you. And so thank you for everything that you did. Okay, and we appreciate you. Thank you. So we'll take pictures. Oh, yes. Nobody hates pictures more than me. Right here.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
That cord. Okay.
Okay. Nobody hates pictures more.
This podium is entirely inconvenient to this operation. One, two, three. There we go.
Thank you so much. You know he would love that. He would absolutely love that.
All right, and next we've added an item to our agenda. We would like for Lori Witt to come forward and tell us about her award. She wasn't able to be with us last month, so we wanted to recognize her this month.
Hello. It was quite an honor when CODA reached out to tell me that I had been selected to their Educator Spotlight. Back in 2016, Virginia became the very first state to require computer science education for all K-12 students. Virginia was also first to have the computer science standards of learning, so that was quite a coup for our state. This summer, I was part of the team responsible for revising those first standards. During this time, and continuing still today, COBA was working to make computer science a priority for all students in the Commonwealth. Being recognized for teaching all of the students at Albert Harris computer programming and computer science is quite an honor. In 2023, software developers were the #1 STEM job according to the U.S. News and World Report. Our students are right online for that wonderful career. Recently, I had the pleasure of speaking with one of my former students about his plans after graduation. I was very excited to hear that he planned on majoring in computer science. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. We're very so proud of your work, and to be recognized by an outside educational group is always powerful. Thank you so much.
All right, next we have our presentation, first reading of our budget for school year 24-25. And first, before I turn it over to Dr. Talley, thank you to everyone who worked on the committee, from Dr. Downing, Mr. Clemens, Dr. Tarpley, the two school board representatives, Ms. Blackwell, Mr. Williams. We appreciate your time and effort, and of course, Dr. Talley, in putting all this together. And we look forward to learning.
Thank you so much, Chairman. We're very appreciative of the teachers. This budget actually started in the buildings with teachers, then with administrators coming over, making their personal presentations, and then the cabinet talking with the budget subcommittee. I want to thank them for working with us. And then, of course, tonight, we're privileged to have our first reading. If you'll notice, this is a proposed budget, which means that we don't have a state budget yet, and we need to keep those things in mind. We do have a governor's proposed budget, but there will be a House budget, there'll be a Senate budget, and then there'll be the actual budget. So none of the numbers are concrete. Last year, Mr. Clemens did help me. Was it in May? How late was it last year that we got?
Late year in May, we got a skinny budget bill, and we didn't actually get the real bill until mid-September of this year.
So that's the time frame. And I wish I could rush the General Assembly, because we really remember years ago, in my 47 years, we usually would get a budget in January, February. But that has changed, and the politics have changed. So I just wanted to say that, keep that in mind as we're going through. And of course, our mission statement, we want a safe and supportive learning environment that engages students. I think our strength is that we have individualized learning experiences. We can offer that because of our class sizes. And I think if you look at research on that, it speaks very positively to that. Our core values of integrity, ethical behavior, we've never had a problem in terms of testing. Academic excellence, we've been accredited all 8 years. Diversity, we have diversity among our students and our staff. Equity, we don't have any gates, meaning that you can't look at our students' classes, look at their neighborhoods and tell who they are. Everybody has an opportunity. Even a robotics program, we start activity with different things in every student. This is the only school division I know of in the state where every student can participate in robotics. Other students have gates, you have to have a certain score, you have to live in a certain area. So we believe in these things: equity, respect, compassion, positive relationships, and of course we always want our families and community engaged. And just listening to the robotics products, a lot of those things like saving the atmosphere from plastic things, these projects are designed to help humanity. So just a very proud moment. Of course, our annual division goals is to always have academic excellence. We want all schools to maintain accreditation. And I want to thank our administrators and teachers for the hard work to making sure that that comes to fruition, because it has for the past 8 years. No matter what they change the standards to in Richmond, our schools meet it. And so, bar none. And if anyone wants to look at that, you can always go on the state website and see it. Those are data that we don't create, they're there. Of course, safe and supportive schools. We want to reduce student absenteeism, which has been terrible since the pandemic. Every school, the governor's just appointed a special commission on absenteeism this week with us in Richmond, as Mr. Clemens and I was there for a conference. Because we got to get students back in school. We're just missing too many students statewide. And then family engagement, we want to engage our families, and we have several nights of robotics, STEM, meet and greet your teachers, all the things that we do. We welcome our families.
Any budget starts with projected revenues. These were the estimates that we made last month based on known components. The sources of revenues are based upon the way the state classifies them. Our local funds, for now, it's based on level funding. That could change if we find that there's a shortfall in the end, maybe a need to request more. With regards to state funds, everything there is level. At that time, there wasn't an adjusted budget or any entitlement worksheets from the state to base any changes with. We have, however, received a governor's proposed budget as of December 20th, and we do see some increases within that scale. However, we'll need to see how the General Assembly plays with this. We've got a lot of direction just this past Monday and Tuesday at the state level, and they've told us just to kind of hold tight, wait and see what happens, because they think things will play out very differently than what has been presented. All right, so those are all level for now. The only one component that I could directly change at this time was this year's E-rate package changed. That impacts both a component within the revenue stream and the expense side. We received a reimbursement in this case of 85% of such expenses, and so you see a net decrease of revenues of $137,839. You'll see later an amount associated with the expense, but the net of this is it saved us just shy of $25,000. So right now this is pretty much a level budget presentation as far as the revenue stream until we receive a General Assembly set.
Now, I had not heard from one, of course, as we said, the budget meeting, and regardless of whether it's a budget or not, anytime, if you have questions, please let us know, because that's what we're here for. And so as we go through PowerPoint, if you have questions, feel free to stop us. If you want to wait till the end, you know, whatever your needs are, let us know, because we're always open for that.
The pie chart shows you how this breaks out in terms of percentages across the scale of this revenue projection, with 63% of the funds coming from base state funds. Those incorporate what we call the SOQ funding components, such as basic aid, monies for vocational programs, ESL programs, and those sort of things that are required in the standards of quality. And then we have a sales tax projection, which will add 11% of this budget, and with 22% at this time being placed in here from local funds, and the remaining pieces are basically recovered costs, which are essentially reimbursements for services and certain small grants that we receive in the general fund.
Any questions? All right, thank you. So, revenue factors, we're projecting our enrollment, which is held pretty steady. The guy was there this week, of course, from Weldon Cooper and some of the other sources talking about what enrollment looks like throughout the state. But right now, and Travis always tried to be very conservative. That way, if we're surprised, we're pleasantly surprised. We haven't overestimated. But K through 12, 1690. Of course, we're currently now at 17, 15, 17, 16. But of course, it fluctuates. Preschool, 110. Adult education, serving about 80 students. So state entitlements, $295,000. Compensation supplement, $543,000. BPI program, $13,000, making a total of $825,951,000. Our primary cost, health insurance is unknown. What we do every year, we have a meeting with the city. We're on the same insurance plan. We send representatives, they send representatives, and we bargain with insurance companies to get a better rate. Travis and I was with City Mayor yesterday, and we talked a little bit about that. Nobody really knows what the health insurance cost is going to be, but our gentleman's agreement with the city has always been, and they've always kept it, is if we have a raise increase and they pay for all their employees, then they pay for all of ours. If their employees have to pay more, then ours will have to pay more. We've always done that, so we'll have equity across the board. Projected 2% pay raise, and that could be higher too when this compromise budget is worked out, but we know it'll at least be 2%, and I think that's important. We want to continue to give raises. Travis has looked, and today we talked, and over what, 5-year span, we've given how many? What was that percentage today?
Last 7 or 8 years, I think we're close to 20% of increases.
Is that across the board or just specific?
In SOQ, it's across the board with other positions. Some years we've been able to allocate the same. In other cases, it's been differentiated or tiered. And in many of those years with lesser paid staff, specifically part-time staff such as bus drivers and so forth, we've input what we call incremental raises, so monetary raises instead of percent base.
But since my time, it's across the board. Everybody gets it, except for like Travis is saying, bus drivers, because if you do the percentage, it doesn't come out to be anything. So, we have actually turned down raises before, and since I've been here, because we couldn't give it to everybody. And we're just a team, and I just think we all should get a raise. I don't care if you work in the cafeteria, you sweep, drive a bus, doesn't matter.
Money allowing, we're allowed to give raises on our own accord. However, with the state budget, they will, in years that they're able to do so, allocate some for varying percentage rates. They only fund a portion, not all, of their required SOQ components. The rest they do not fund anything for. So our ability to fund a raise across the board or in part or however that works out is contingent upon those additional local funds and whether or not we have enough of those allocated to do so.
And that's where you end up with that infamous phase of unfunded mandates, where they said, we want you to give this, then we're not gonna pay for all of it, which is nice of them. Ms. Gibbs?
Two things. Can you remind us what VPI stands for?
All right, VPI is the Virginia Preschool Initiative Program. That's primarily, those are funds allocated for, primarily for the 4-year-old program. However, for the past couple of years, we've also had additional funds allocated for the 3-year-old program. We remain to see, because those funds have not been included in our entitlement worksheet when Ms. Sheila Williams works out some other reports. And if the state has funds left over from funds not being used in other programs, they will reallocate those, and they allow us to get some per pupil amounts for those for the We3 program. And we also house approximately 10 students a year in the special ed 2-year-old and up program that's housed there as well.
And I really feel like that's the thing that really not only got us to where we are in terms of academic excellence, but keeps us there. When young people and 3 and 4-year-olds can come out and what they do at Cliffview, when you go, just go. You just need to go see it. It's a miracle. I mean, they're reading. Today I watched them construct letters. I've never seen that before. I did some walkthroughs today, and it was amazing how they had kids building actual letters that are only like 3 years old. That was tremendous to me. So they'll be able to read before they get to kindergarten, and that gives them that leg up. If you read a book such as Left at the Starting Gate, you know what that means when they can go 3rd grade, 2nd grade and read. So really exciting, really exciting.
Sheriff, should you do me a favor? You explained it to me why the numbers are in yellow there.
All right, those yellows were numbers that we had in place last year without having entitlement worksheets in time this year to work forward. Of course, last year, every 2 years there's a biennium budget that is created. So the state puts out 2 years worth of budgets. We typically only focus in these meetings on the first year. So last year was the first year of the biennium. So I already had numbers in a spreadsheet to work from the previous year to help put numbers in at the time we presented last year. However, we do not have anything to work from at this point or at the time that we created this presentation.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to explain it to everybody else so they knew that.
So we have about, any more questions? Don't want to move on. Okay. We had about actually $1.4 million in requests, but in terms of things, we basically cut that in half for budgeted requests, 761. You'll see it on the next couple of slides. So net other increases and decreases $7,000. So we're looking at a cost factor of basically $1.1 million when we look at everything. Now, keep in mind the health insurance is unknown. The numbers that are highlighted are unknown at this point. We're just estimating. So these are the requests. Yes, the teachers get together with their building administrators. The building administrators talk to their staff. And these are the things that we were asked for. Because somebody asked questions, do schools get everything they need? Absolutely not. It would be nice to get everything you want or desire. And you'll see where the list came from. We do this so you can see everything is asked for. When you add all this up, it comes up to be about $1.7 million. And of course, that's not what we're asking for tonight. So clearly you see professional development, you see a furniture increase. I don't wanna read the whole list, you can see it. You can see a requested Patrick Henry for math support specialist, gifted stipend, you, again, K1 pair, at Albert Harris, great need there for students with discipline. And we're careful there with Dr. Tarple and her staff to make sure we're compliant with special ed law. That some of those things won't be optional. If the caseload gets there, we have to do it. State doesn't actually, if you can afford it, doesn't matter. You just do it. And so we work very well with her staff, a resource teacher and a paraprofessional. Martinsville Middle School, asked for school counselor, teacher retention coach. Martinsville High School, asked for school counselor at the high school. And then you have division requests. Once we hit every building, then we have to look at the division request. People personnel services, travel, nurses salary. Of course, we have a nurse in every school now. We're trying to.
I have a quick question, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So that's 78,870, is that just?
Do we need to go back?
Yeah, if you don't
Go
care.
back, yeah,
And
absolutely.
explain is that the cost of what those positions?
Yes.
Like a placeholder?
That's a
It is.
placeholder.
So I base, my assumption is based on the average of the salary scale of a teacher. Upon which all I do is apply the health insurance program and all the other benefits. And so this would be a package cost for the person making the average of her salary as a placeholder.
Now, suppose you're a first year teacher, you may not make that. Suppose you're a teacher with 20 years experience, you might make more than that. So all those things will fluctuate, but Travis gives a good estimate of Social Security and all the other things, benefits that come with the family.
And this assumption would also include the 2% raise. That 2% was starting this month. We had to give it mid-year this year, but because that's a fixed cost now, it automatically carries into the next year's budget.
And I guess, of course, that came about because that was the agreement last year, that they would go ahead, the state would release money to add an additional 2%. So we took advantage of that. Anything else? Please stop me, don't let me go too fast. Okay, thank you. Again, these are the things from the division level. You can see the things that were asked for, screen projector, software, salary adjustments. And again, like any other company, we bid against the surrounding counties for work. You know, if we're gonna pay $2 less an hour, that's a problem. We all live in an area so close to each other, you can easily drive 20-25 minutes to be in a spot. So some of those salary bumps you see in order for us to be competitive, especially things like paraprofessionals, because they work so hard. They really do. And the good thing about most of our paraprofessionals have degrees. You don't find that everywhere. Most of them have formal education and training. Any questions about this slide? Okay. Thank you. Other division levels, Window Armor, which we've been really at the forefront. I'll give it to TJ on the safety things, because I can't tell you how many times television stations have come in to see what we're doing for security. But these are two of the things that he's proposing for next year. And then we had an asset cliff, and that's everywhere now. The pandemic, the government has officially declared it's over, and so they're gonna withdraw all the money pretty much that they gave for us, our support. And so we're gonna lose that. Every school is gonna lose it. And again, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that we're gonna have to take, we're gonna have to pay for, that we're gonna need. And so we have no control. We have no control over it. All cities will be able to, I think they were able to keep that money, spend it for school divisions. They had to, anything we didn't spend, return back. And we tried to spend it all. But those things that we funded through ESSER are gone this year.
That's part of the request that we're asking.
Yes, absolutely, it has to be. And that's important because, to just get down into the weeds, we've been cut the last 3 years, 4 years. We have not received local funding. And we said, and we've got this on tape, so these people, I'll put it on out there. 3 years ago, that this year was coming. And we knew that money was gonna go, and so we asked not to be cut, okay? And we had the placeholders in place that we would have absorbed that. And, everybody in here knows I'm telling it like it is, and that's the only thing I can do. But we're cut anyway, and so now it's time to pay up. Those things, that money's gone. But we did have it in the budget to cover that. And of course, I guess city council did what they needed to do. And of course, they're trying to help us with that now, and they fully understand that that's coming.
Would you explain to everybody what happens with teacher funding if we don't spend it on teachers? You were telling me.
That money goes back to ESSER, if anything we don't spend, but we spend ours. You know, and this was, money that we're spending doing instructional things and other things, for schools, but we lose that, because there's no more ESSER funding.
These were temporary grants, and on September 30th of this year, the expenses will no longer be able to keep using those funds. Those aren't local funds, so those don't go back to fund balances.
Right, well, I meant to explain that what the teachers pay, you were telling me about before, that it goes back to the city if we do not hire positions.
Yeah, all the money that we have anyway, at the end of the year, if we don't spend it, it goes to the city.
I don't think everybody understood that, so that's why I want to make
Right,
sure.
and that's called our carry forward, that goes to the city, and, there are different ways of handling that, as in a neighboring division, they get the first $500, the government gets the next 500, they get the next alternate. Some divisions give it all back to the schools. Some divisions and some governments, they keep all of it. That's totally the local government's money, what we don't spend. And we always have a fund balance, because we never spend all of our money. We try to be very careful with what we spend. We've never had a year that we've overspent our money. Never, ever. And we don't ever want to do that.
The fund balance is twofold. So at the end of the year, there are technically two fund balances. One is true unexpended funds that would be considered local funds to fall back to the local government and appropriating body. The second piece is we have a few grants and some other things that must be carried forward and must remain with the school system. So in any typical year, we have anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000 of carryover monies that we do receive back by default.
On the grant.
Right.
Yeah,
So
right.
that generally where people get upset is they'll see sometimes 1.1, 1.2 million in a certain year. But you take 400,000 off and you get closer to 700,000 or 800,000 true fund balance. That's what we'd like to leave, but my goal is to end with around $500,000 each year, and our size budget would be not too much.
And that money is earmarked. No one can spend that, not even city government can spend the grant money, because it's earmarked for that. Good question. Anybody else? Thank you. So total request to the budget process, cost of school request, we just haven't totaled that at division level. Total request, somewhere around $1,448,000. So, or $1.4, $1.5 million in total request. And of course, we know we can't do that. But again, I thought that the administrators were very practical. Nobody asked for anything that was lavish or whatever. It's just that we have a great need. We have a great need. Travis?
Okay. What's not included in those other requests, for the most part, are capital improvements. These would be allocated and appropriated separately. But this is a list that we keep in a rolling format. These are the projects we desire or need, and sorted these by site and by list of projects. And in some cases, we have some recent estimates. Some of these estimates are fairly old as well, so they probably would not hold today. And it doesn't behoove us to keep asking the same entity to keep spending their time to come in and estimate every 3 months and keep up with this. So we just lock some of those in the meantime. Some of these we are doing on our own on a rolling basis, such as the lighting upgrades. As things go out, we will automatically, we keep a small inventory each year and we restock. And as such as this room. If these ballasts go from the older lights, we'll replace them with the newer systems and upgrade as we go along. A number of years ago, we did what was called a back of the envelope study. A group come in, analyzed the whole district, all the buildings, all the working systems, and figured out what changes would generate savings over time. At the time, that competed simultaneously with the high school renovation project. Due to lack of funds, we weren't able to then borrow the $1.5 million or whatever to implement those projects, so a handful of those we're implementing on our own over time. Otherwise, the major projects are, we'll start at the top, the roofs. Last year we did receive, first time in my career, a nice lump sum from the state of just over $1.5 million. We had several roofs, and we still have more that needs to be recoated. And so this past year we were able to complete 2 roof segments at the middle school. We completed the main classroom roof section, and then we completed the gymnasium roof. The other roofs were part of the renovation in, I think it was 1996, and those are the slanted tin roofs, and they're in good shape. So the middle school, as far as roofs now, is pretty well caught up. And we've moved on to here at central office. However, we do not have enough money to complete here. We basically have 3 sections here that we're addressing. So from this room to the other end of the building is getting a completely new roof. A number of years ago at Clearview and here, they were coated with foam, which has turned out not to be the best approach. So monies will get that far. We need about $350,000 to $400,000 more to complete to the next wing, which was recoated after the floods and some heavy rain damage 2 or 3 years ago. And then the final section would be the annex building, which is in terrible shape from the flood still, etc. But we haven't had any money to renovate that. It needs to be completely renovated if we're to utilize it again, top to bottom. The next roof of priority would, 2 sections of roof of priority. One would be during the high school renovation, the roof was a new EPDM roof was put on most sections. There's one small section, and that's the atrium roof. The lower roof of the auditorium was not done. We do have a recent estimate that we need about $50,000, between $50,000 and $60,000 likely to fix that. It is starting to leak, and we're starting to see some rot there as well, so that needs to be addressed. The other major roof then would be the other foam roof, Clearview, in total. And then Howard Harris has a few spots that could be addressed, but much of this roof has been recoated or replaced, recoated with EPDM in recent years. Other major projects, the second floor with our high school, the high school needs to be replaced. With ESSER funds, we were able to do a considerable amount of work with regards to our HVAC heating and air conditioning systems, many replacements, some control systems replaced, etc. But we're still lagging there. We probably need close to $1 million to finish the middle school, and then probably a couple $100,000 to $250,000 to finish out some other small mechanical replacements. Those 2 things being done, then we can focus on some of the other desirables rather than the needs. But otherwise, the rest of the list, I mean, overall it's self-explanatory. You can see what we're looking at. The final goal would be to acquire monies. I'm not sure what an estimate would be. We would have to go do an RFP for this, and that would be to get a facility study done. One was completed in, I think, 93. That drove the renovation of Albert Harris and the middle school additions and things like that, as well as some other projects. But that would drive our CIP in a much more formidable way in the future, and really help us look at how to align our needs in a prioritized way, much better than we're doing right now. But it wouldn't be cheap to do either.
Did we have an estimate on that at all?
I can get one, but we haven't done an RFPA, and I haven't asked for quotes yet. Any further questions on that? Or what's listed or missing?
So basically, just leveling some things. We need to take it as a clip. We're gonna have a problem because of special ed enrollment and have to have the $70,000 to $80,000 for student discipline. Buses are the alignment in terms of some of them getting behind on that scale. We really need to, going try to do one. We're gonna do a couple of salary adjustments for $760, $1,000.
For the benefit of all, with regards to school buses, we do run 30 concurrent buses. That includes special ed routes and other specialized routes as well, in addition to the regular routing. The state recommends a 15-year bus replacement. And that would be pretty easy for us in that sense. 2 buses per year on a rolling schedule would keep us on par. And they recommend that in large part due to the safety and age of buses, but also because of new equipment and things that make them safer and better for us, our use, and more efficient on other fronts with fuel and so forth. So we'd really like to get on that schedule, but we need basically a permanent 2-year cycle with capital for that.
Where are we at now, Travis, on that? Like, how often are we replacing our buses right now? We're not
Only when we can and upon request. Last year we submitted a request formally. It was not considered based on, well, it's blamed on the reversion process. Things were set aside for a while. This year we have resubmitted, or are going to resubmit once the audit process is finished and they have a chance to review and see what fund balance played out for this past year. But before that, we were generally able to come to the table as needed and then ask for a bus or 2, and then we'd get allocated based on our previous year's fund balance left over.
Any questions? Okay.
Here's a slide that goes along with the other side of the budget. The first slide earlier was based on the revenue projection at the time. This projection is more up to date. This includes the adjustments that you saw on the previous slides. Those things we included. Those slides where we indicate increases and decreases, there are adjustments based on actual salaries of somebody. When I get an actual salary for somebody, I'll go overwrite and revise those things. So over time that plays up and down, as well as other knowns. If a software package changes or an insurance package changes cost, we go ahead and I revise the model, and it remains a live document ongoing. All right. So, and then of course the 2% raise and things like that. And the raises typically impact us more than anything else. That's why we listed that in the first slide as primary cost factors. Those are the most cost aligned factors impacting our budget estimate. In this case, I used the actual state categories of expenses. This is how we have to classify them on our reports. Instruction is broken into 2 components, and the state recognizes these separately, and then we get to combine those. One is direct instruction and supportive instruction. Our projection last year was roughly $17,600,000. The new projection is $18,500,000, increase of $877,000. Instructional technology, we actualized a decrease there. That's due to that E-rate package decrease, which the actual expense side of that dropped about $160. So we netted some increases on other items, so the true net is just shy of $100,000 in reductions there. So the total instructional package increases by $780,000 in this estimate. Direct administration increases by $71,000. Attendance and health factors increased by around $20,000 for a total net of $90,000. Administration, attendance, and health category. Transportation, increasing that by $120,000. And maintenance and operations, just merely $22,000. Again, that does not include capital, although it has to be a lot bigger. We do not have any facility acquisitions or debt service in our budget. We do have debt service on behalf of the school system, but the city handles that through debt service, or in other cases, the state fund, we put that in a separate fund source, and so those do not show in this particular budget. Our net expense increase is just over $1,011,247, with a bottom line of $26,241,588 for the general fund. And again, you see the pie chart at the top. So 71% direct instruction, 5% instructional technology, so at 76%, admin about 5%, attendance and health about 2%, transportation about 5%, maintenance and operations around $12,000. Maintenance and ops includes not just maintenance and grounds and those sort of things, but also where the state classifies our school safety and all those large expenses that you're seeing, which balloons that as well as resource officers and those components. And again, we don't have any any debt service or facility acquisitions or growth built into our general fund.
Questions?
That includes our ask, that whole,
We are not sure what we'll have to ask for,
Okay.
if we'll have to. There are a couple factors there, but we will need the General Assembly to come through and give us estimates through the spreadsheets they give us. When we have that in hand, then we can be a lot closer.
And again, this is what took us last year way into September. We have to wait on them. Every school division has to wait. If not, you can over-project or under-project, and it's a problem. Any questions? Any more questions? Okay, any questions? So anticipated revenues around $25 million overall, budget expenditures $26 million, and it's a variance, a difference of over $1 million, $1.1 million.
Now that variance includes, as you saw, it didn't change much on the revenue side based on projections at the time. The expense side increased a little over $1 million. And so that creates a variance. We do believe we'll get more money from the state to help with this variance. We just don't know how much or how far that will go. And then we have some other factors to think about in terms of what we're required to spend for SOQ and the local side, things like that, that may impact that request later on as well.
We try to be conservative so that if we don't get the funds, we will not have overspent. And if we do get what we need, then we're pleasantly surprised. And we've never missed that yet. So chances are it's gonna be less than that.
we project both ways, I'm sure. If it was, if we didn't get anything, and if we did get it.
Because we need to know. We need to have an idea. So, anticipated funds, state entitlement around $19 million. Our local funding is usually around $6 million. And then other funds that are entangled in, again, you've got grants and other things entangled in $339,000. So the budget total should be around $25,758,772. Questions?
Again, this was our basis for last year. Generally, you asked what other funds were, and those are like E-rate funds, rentals for properties and things like that, reimbursements for dual enrollment, that sort of thing. Obviously, that local amount did not hold last year, though that was our request in the process, and they dropped us, so we ended up with around $5.5 million, as you saw on the previous slides, in actual funding.
So again, if it's in highlight, we know those are not solid numbers yet. Anything else? All right. Journey of success, and we've done pages of this. Angela and I said with the cabinet, we thought about all the things, but again, we've never been to a point where 75% of our schools have triennial accreditation, which means they have accreditation for several years. That's not awarded to everybody. You only get that if you've shown years of success. And we've never had that many schools to have that. So it's almost like an accreditation wave thing because they've scored so well. Very proud of that because it could be the other way, 75% unaccredited. And we never want that again, ever. So go ahead. We'll just flip through, again, all these awards you've seen them before. We've got different schools, the high school, Albert Harris, Patrick Henry, again, the high school, Avid Showcase schools. We're B3 certified company, first award school. We're on the state, and the division was funny because we're at UVA, and they were talking about hiring people. It was just funny. They hiring people to come and screen your kids on the mental health, and I'm sitting there laughing because I looked at our superintendent and said, we do that free. And they were up there actually vendors selling that. I'm just like, hey, we have our own system. And so that's money again because of the brilliance of our staff we're able to save. And that's important. Mental health is important for our students, our teachers, and for us too. It really is. Go ahead. Just so many things. Martinsville City Schools to recognize at the state and national levels. We present, our people present, not only just me, of course I've been here, but our teachers and staff members and central office people are present at these places, national places. YouTube and see what we're doing. Everybody, as the robotics teacher mentioned, Lizzie did, everybody knows us. And we're a small area compared to the areas we compete against. But they all know us because we're all presenting somewhere. And we could add also tech. Talk with my advisor at tech. I'll be doing some presentations in March there. So, I mean, the staff is just in demand, and I'm very proud, along with the people who have advanced degrees now, doctorates. So, you couldn't ask for better staff. Go ahead. Again, teacher recognitions, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Teacher of the Year. Of course, I'd like to eventually, somewhere down the line, get JRTC back here. I'm a firm believer in that. Military discipline. I'm just a firm believer in that. Poetry out loud, go ahead. The robotics things that you saw the enthusiasm. And these are things that encourage kids to stay in school too. Not only just athletic things, robotics, Odyssey of the Minds, mental things, what we do at the classroom quiz, I call it still that, it's called Scholastic quiz at the high school. Those things for our kids who are, I think that's a gift too, being academically smart, just as well as shooting a basketball. So all those things to have a way for them that they can leave this area and go into engineers. I met one or two of our students who have gone into engineering at Tech, and of course they were members of these robotics teams in the school. So I'm just very proud. I not brag all the time on kids, and I'm not stopping because I'm just very proud. Go ahead. Again, we continue with our journey. 75% have training and accreditation. Doesn't matter what the state comes out with. We're gonna need it, and we're gonna match it. Our kids can do it. The bar sit down. We're never gonna worry about what state accreditation is because we're gonna meet that. Our kids can rise to the occasion. So in lieu of this, we're requesting right now, and we probably should shade that in y'all too because we don't have the final amounts on the others. 1.4 million is the funding gap between what we need right now and what we actually anticipate having. That's gonna change. It's gonna actually be lower, as Travis has stated, once we get the spreadsheets in. But that's where we are. That's our worst scenario right now. Okay. Any questions? Again, finally, I just say that JLARC, which was commissioned by the General Assembly, put the whole state on blast and says that we need to add about $2,000 more per student in Virginia. Each student here spends again around $8,000, but they're saying Virginia, just like other states, we just simply don't spend enough on education. We're severely underfunded, and even the governor and the representatives at our meeting at Travis and I with in Richmond this week talked about that. How are we going to get funding up for our young people? Because again, we expect the best. Then we've got to give them the resources and teachers and staff, support staff and mental health staff. I was in a meeting, I called Dr. Tarplin and said, I think we've got this free program. I mean, everybody's looking for programs and grants we can get to help get us in a great need. So we're very proud. We're very proud of where we are. It is a working document, which means it's going to change, okay? And as it changes, we'll get that information to the board, and we'll continue to do a public hearing on the 29th on this, and a third reading, the first school board meeting in February, if necessary. After the public hearing on the 29th, the board can accept this or reject it or modify it. It is your budget, okay? Any questions?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna dial way back, but
That's okay.
when you're talking about state funding and stuff, and it probably, I think you answered a little bit of it, but I'm assuming our enrollment dictates about how much, does it play a factor in how much we get from the state on funding? Is there like is it based on, we get X amount of dollars per student?
The primary revenue streams are dictated by the average daily membership. It's a snapshot taken from the first day of school through March 31st. Whatever our average daily membership is during that time frame, they lock that into their formulas, and they revise all their estimates back to us, and we get the final numbers for that year. Several of the line items are based on the September 30th actual enrollment snapshot, not an average for certain programs. For example, ESL, if you have 120 versus 130, so your funding in that line item will go up and down at that time for the remainder of the year and adjust.
You might not be like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So a couple of the line items are based on real funds. So the lottery programs are not funded through the state's general fund, but lottery funds keep growing, so they've not been in danger of being cut at any time during the course of a normal year. So whatever they put in the budget for us, we get. And again, but some of those are dictated also by those numbers, how many participants we have. Some are trailing numbers, some are school. So if we get funded a subsequent year, if we have high numbers, we get a great deal of money. If we have a lower summer program one year, then it may cost, we may not get enough funds to support what we're doing, but we generally have enough other funds to help cover that. So we're able to fluidly cover our programs. Sales tax is real time, so we get 1 1/8% of our sales tax in return from the state. However, the state does its projections. Looks like they missed quite a bit this past year based on the cut from the hygiene tax. They did fund us some of that loss, but again, they use this composite index model, and we get partial funding for things. So we're trying to adjust for that, and we still have to monitor sales tax for the year because, fortunately, in recent years we've gotten more sales tax than budgeted. But there are years when it can come in low as well.
Travis, could you just touch on briefly the caboose bill piece? So I
Sure.
understand what the caboose
Yeah,
board will.
the caboose bill, they'll do a few things, but typically those are based on their updates to their formulas. They call those technical adjustments. We use the same term. So if they're seeing a shift in enrollment or other things within the model, then they'll adjust those funds in our revenue streams. Sometimes they'll add a little more in or this, that, and the other. Or in our case, where the entitlement sheet will then later might reflect an item such as that three-year-old funding, which it didn't earlier in the year. We'll see that input of monies at that time and operate from that. So our caboose bill looks good for us this year so far, and so we're not going to lose money across the year as long as everything keeps coming in across the state as it should.
And hell, I was saying that because that's the adjustment to the budget in case of enrollment or anything else. The state comes back and looks at that and tax on.
So every year there are three sets of bill. One of them's modeled off the Senate budget, one off the House budget, and the other's always the caboose bill. So because they adjust the working year as well as the next paying in.
So y'all can see how dependent we are on General Assembly passing bills.
And we're largely more impacted by the General Assembly because of our low composite index. So we had a 2.2333 index. We're going up 0.0006, minuscule, but it's still going up. Which will reduce a little bit of funding, but it's really negligible in that picture. But because we're close to that 0.2 level, essentially the state will pick up close to 75% of the SOQ on our behalf. So these things impact us a lot less than some of the other districts as a result, but they do give us a large chunk of our funding as a result. And modeling what I think will happen, it looks like the city budget at $5.5 million will only come out to be around 21% of our general fund. And when I look at federal funds and nutrition budget in conjunction with that, it drops the local effort down to about 18% of our overall budget.
We talked with, again, our city manager, we meet monthly with her about that. So again, if you have any questions, you may not have thought about them tonight, just call us, me or Travis, and get with us. And if you need to come over, sit down, look at some more things, we're just here for you. All you need to do is let us know, and we'll be glad to talk about some things.
I just had one more question I was going to ask a minute ago. I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry. Our year-over-year census, how's that been trending? Do you know over the past 3 years, has it been trending down or up?
We have a steady regional decline. We also have a statewide decline, and as we've learned through several presentations now, there are more migration out of the state than into the state, which we're trying to mitigate through redesign programs, and we'll see how the General Assembly addresses that this year. Years ago, I drew an arc between Pulaski to from North Carolina line through Pulaski to Halifax. I've collected data for about a decade and a half on all the school systems below just to see what's happening in Southside Central Virginia. And we had some years we'll lose 1,500 students collectively. On average, we're above 500, but closer to 500 at this point in actual loss. So it's not Martinsville, it's rural Virginia, and Virginia has a larger picture. Birth rates are also down, and that's also impacting things as well. Our estimate has been sound. So that's why we haven't had to come back and go to city council saying we've lost students, we need another couple 100,000 to make ends meet. Last year, an average comes out to be a decimal point. We were less than 2 students off last year in our beginning of year estimate versus our outcome on the average. This year, right now, I'm estimating to be low, about 18, but it appears the caboose bill will make up the difference.
And that on your Friday focus, beginning of the year, we do enrollment first 2 weeks or so, and then periodically give you a number, and that reflects where we were last year and what we proposed to get to 17, 15. I think my last numbers I gave you guys on Friday was 17, 16. So that shows you how close we are. We've been unpredictable. We've lost students. As Travis is saying, he did this great study a couple of years ago on that in the whole southwest part of Virginia. But basically, we've been an outlier because they could never really predict what our attendance and enrollment's going to be.
So there is an impact to the Weldon Cooper figures. The state bases its sales tax scenario to us based on the Weldon Cooper Center's demographic presentations to them. Weldon Cooper since they took over the census process, had far underestimated our actual student basis. Our own 5 and 10 year modeling has somehow, it's somewhat arbitrary and not really scientific, but has been much more closer, and that may just be luck, but we've been lucky, it's been good.
We're smarter than that, Travis. You're just smarter.
I don't think so, but still.
So far, we're ahead of the game. Any more questions? Again, I want to thank everybody because everybody was involved in this, and just the hours of working. And poor Kevin had locked them in for almost 2 weeks, but just an outstanding job, and we work with a great job of professionals who always come out with a budget that's going to give our young people what they need, and that's what's important. It's all about the young people. Any more questions? Again, call us individually, you can call us one-on-one, you can come over, just the whole gamut. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next we have Dr. Downing, who's going to present all-in tutoring plan.
Bear with me, I'm a Mac person on a PC. There we go. Good evening. I'm pleased to,
I didn't do it.
Look how quickly she turned around.
I didn't do it.
Sitting.
She's out Steve today. Yeah, he's fine. He's not taking my shoes. He's fine. He's out of town. Yes, ma'am.
As we're getting this up, I'll present tonight on our all-in tutoring plan. That's part of Governor Youngkin's all-in Virginia planning to address some of the issues following the pandemic, school closures and things like that. We're very excited about this. Worked with teams from the 2 elementaries in the middle school. This is a grades 3 through 8 program. And we had great work session Friday with the teams from each of those schools. And I just want to celebrate the enthusiasm with which those teams were working, planning for our students and looking to what we need to do to give our students what they need to be successful and reach their potential. So we're all very excited about this. I'm very excited that you're here tonight. Okay, so Martinsville City Public Schools all-in tutoring for grades 3 through 8 in reading and math. And again, this is what I had mentioned. This came out in September 2023 from Governor Youngkin, the all-in plan. And a big part of that, in fact, for the money we received, 70% had to be spent on all-in tutoring. and that's high intensity academic tutoring. One of the hallmarks of the all-in tutoring is learning acceleration. And I'm very pleased to say that's the mindset we've had through all of this. Not remediation, acceleration. If I'm a student who's a year behind, then 1 year growth isn't gonna get me there. I need 2 years to catch up, and so that's that acceleration piece.
And I just want to tell you something, that's a key part of our philosophy, because I get in trouble with that, because a lot of school divisions will hold back 20% of their students, and we don't. We catch them up, okay? Because research shows if you hold students back, eventually they drop out. And we have a very good finishing rate at the high school, it's above the state average. So that's a fight some days.
It is.
You know, it's a real fight, but I don't mind saying no. Okay, let's catch them up.
And I have the research to show they have found that television and mobility have more positive impact on student performance than retention. So it has a very negative impact. And the research on leadership and leadership through change, I don't know if you've heard of the golden circle. Great leaders, especially leaders working through change, start with the why. Why are we doing what we're doing? And I think you heard earlier, we always start with our students. What's best for our students? We strongly believe that if you start with what's best for students, you will make the right decision. So that's the process we went through with this. Our why isn't compliance. It's not because we're required to do tutoring. Our why is our vision. We're empowering success one learner at a time. As Dr. Talley mentioned earlier, our small sizes, small class sizes mean we're able to individualize. We've long had built into our schedule daily intervention and enrichment time, where we can look at what does a student need. We've got some time set aside. We can sit down with those students, work with them, and give them what they need. So that's the why that we started with in planning our tutoring. And from there we looked at how and then what is this going to look like. So that's the model I'm going to use in explaining our process and what we came up with. We looked at all types of research. As you know, I'm a research geek. That's just my happy place. We used two big pieces, and that was the All-In Tutoring Playbook from Virginia Department of Education, and also the most recent study on the promise of tutoring for pre-K-12 learning, a systematic review and meta-analysis of experimental evidence that came out in the American Educational Research Journal. As I talk about this, I'll just very surface level make sure, I always like to make sure we have the same vocabulary. ES in this research is effect size. Effect size is a magnitude of difference in the comparison of two groups or two sets of data. Very simply, you pre-test, you put in interventions, you post-test, what's the difference between those two tests? That's your effect size. In looking at tutoring, the research found that tutoring programs do yield consistent positive impact on learning. Tutoring typically has an effect size of 0.28. 0.2 is considered statistically significant impact. Anything higher than that, it increases the impact. They found overall that tutoring programs that were done by teachers or paraprofessionals were more effective, held earlier in grade levels, for at least 3 days per week, and were held during the school day were the most effective. So that was kind of the basis that we went from. I'll start with our why. Based on the research, tutoring provided by teachers was found to be more effective, overall effect size of 0.39 or greater, than tutoring provided by paraprofessionals, which was 0.30, and non-professionals, which was 0.10. I'd like to point out the difference that a teacher makes, 0.3, 0.17. That was part of our decision making because we had options with this funding. Also, larger effects were found for intensity with 4 to 5 days a week of tutoring, having a larger impact, effect size of 0.35 than 1 to 3 days a week. But this is important to note. When tutoring was provided by the teacher, the effect for 3 days a week was higher than 4 to 5 days a week with a non-professional. Looking at that, we decided we needed our teachers tutoring our students. They know our students, they're licensed professionals. To help with this is additional planning for our teachers. So in our plan, our teachers will be compensated for additional planning after school through the all-in funds. And please stop me with any questions.
You said after school?
For the planning. They'll have planning during school, they have to plan for their regular core instruction, and then after school to plan for the tutoring. Then looking at when we're gonna have this tutoring Tutoring provided during school time, the effect was larger, 0.31, than after school. Also, the DOE's playbook recommended during the day tutoring tends to result in higher gains than programs held out of school time. Looking at robotics, looking at the program we have after school, that's important. It does so much for our students. So we wanted to value that and make sure that no student was limited in their opportunities because they had to go to tutoring after school. So I want them to have all of that after school enrichment and their tutoring within the school day. Now, looking at the frequency of the tutoring, the DOE playbook recommended 5 days per week over a sustained period. That was backed up with the research in the meta-analysis. They didn't find a difference between how many weeks per se, but it went back to the intensity and the number of days. 4 to 5 was found to have more than 1 to 3. Back to with a teacher, that was even greater. So we will have our students receiving tutoring 5 days a week by a licensed teacher. I'm excited to see what we're going to see out of that. Also, when tutoring is delivered in short sessions, less than 30 minutes, the impact was greater. So our students will have 30 minutes of tutoring at the end of each core instructional block. They'll still get their instruction. And then during our IE time, they'll get another layer of tutoring for about 30 minutes. Looking at the platforms, the state is providing 2 platforms for us. They came out with Zern and then another one, I think back in October, Dr. Talley?
Yes.
I didn't care for the reading one. Reading is my background. So my team and I, we thoroughly researched Zern for the math and then researched several other reading platforms. What was interesting, we determined that we wanted Lexia for our students. We got the quote on November 28th, and on December 1st, the state adopted it. So, validated us. So we use Zern for math and Lexia for reading. Now, Zern for math, how this will work. The students will have their regular core instruction with their teacher. And then the last 30 minutes, the teacher will assign work in Zern that aligns with this. It's just reinforcing what they've learned in class. The students have a reinforcing lesson, their progress monitors as they go through some guided practice and then independent practice. If they're struggling, the teacher immediately gets an alert on her dashboard and she knows, I need to pull these students for this skill right then. In looking at the data for Zern, this is from spring 2023 from Texas. I've really honed in on the Texas data because the Texas state testing system, their STAR system, has historically been very similar to Virginia's SWOT testing system. So this was the impact, the difference between students not having Zern usage and students having Zern usage. Look at the difference between that. That's double digit across the board for all subgroups. What also caught our attention was gifted. One thing very nice about Zern, if I'm mastering at this level, it pushes me up. So I can go up as far as I need to, as far as I'm capable of. So that's when we look and say, we want that for all of our students. So that's why every student will at least get that 30 minutes during core every day. Lexia Core 5 is our reading program for grades 3 through 5. Again, the students will get their classroom instruction with their teacher. The last 30 minutes, the teacher will assign them the lessons related to what they've been taught. They start at the standard, at the grade level. If they're successful here, then they move on to a new application of that skill in a different context to make sure they can transfer that learning. If I'm struggling here, I'll bump down to guided practice, where they'll provide some scaffolding within the platform, help me with what I'm confused with or where I'm struggling. Once I get it here, I go right back up. If I'm struggling here, I go to direct instruction, where there are videos and explicit instruction in there, and then the teacher is alerted on a dashboard. I know I need to pull you during class or to pull you aside in IE. And this is, Power Up is the one for reading for grade 6 through 8. Very similar. It doesn't have the guided instruction component because these are older readers with more skill set. So what will our tutoring look like? We've looked at the why, the how, now what.
We will start next week with Zurn. This is our phase 1. We're starting with Zurn because the state awarded that contract in October, so the rostering and all of that is ahead of schedule. Again, we'll have Tier 1. All of our students will receive that every day. Tier 2, identified students. Teachers can pull them to work in small group. And then today, my team came together and we found where they didn't tell us we could do this, but we found out we can. I can look back, pull one-to-one, but also I can look at first semester at my data, see what students were having trouble with what skills, and assign them the lessons for those skills to do during IE. So pick back up first semester and keep moving with second. I want to note that Zurn found students completing at least 3 lessons on grade level per week for 30 to 45 minutes per lesson, demonstrated 2.5 years of growth in 1 year. That's huge. That's huge. That's why I want this for every one of my students. And it's a very similar model for Lective. That'll be our phase 2. I'm hoping to have that in place by the end of this month. So big picture, who? All students will receive tutoring by our teachers. When? During the school day, 5 days a week. How? Multi-tiered. During the core, small group, and IE. And what we'll use is Zurn for math and Lexia for reading and the professional knowledge of our teachers. And that's our all-in tutoring plan. Any questions? Thank you very much. We're excited.
Yeah, that was very exciting. Thank you. Great work for you and your team.
It takes a village.
And I'm glad to sign too for the gifted students.
Is all the technology and everything in place already for all that? Okay.
We are 1-to-1 as a division, so that's there. I have ordered some really nice headsets with microphones for every student to use during this, so they're not hearing anything else, and then the programs can pick up on what they're saying.
Oh, that's great.
And parents will be able to work it, the kids can work it on.
The kids can log in and work on it anytime they want.
That's great.
And there'll be we have parent letters that are going out this week and next week, and then once we get all the logins, it's actually done through their single sign on Clever, so everything the kids log into is on Clever. And there's also information coming from both platforms to send home to parents about how they can support their students.
Okay, wonderful, good, wonderful.
So it looks good.
Outstanding job to you and your team.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. I need a motion that we accept the minutes from last school board meeting, as well as the financial reports. As you've been able to see, those items online, but they were sent out early with the financial report. So I need a motion. All right, any discussion? I need a second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, superintendent's super duper really short.
See, you sound like Cameron now.
She taught me well.
Okay, just a couple of quick things, because I try to be aware. Had a nice city council meeting and listened to their plan actually sit in with that Travis was with me. And very appreciative of that. Appreciate everybody for coming out to the Christmas fellowship. Had a great time. It was a good time to just get together and talk about the year. And again, those are stress relievers. Teachers always appreciate, even administrators, when they can just take an hour off the stress and just fellowship and just be people. So we enjoyed it. We're working on the 2024-2025 calendar. We're going to have that out to you soon. Got a copy of it today. Just look at it. We're going to get it out to the representatives and the principals, get some feedback, and then look again with the cabinet and see what our best options are. We'll bring it to you because you have to approve it for next year. So we'll get that done. Winter break went well. The kids came back safely. I want to thank everybody who helped on our committee that looks at the weather report. Even though I have a line of principals who text me, I do have some people, and I have a chat with the other superintendents around us. And there was an excellent call this week, because it reminded me, I was having deja vu of when I was principal at the middle school, and we let school out, and by the time I could walk to the bus stop, tornadoes were coming out of the sky, and they just came without warning. And we took a chance that the kids were actually on the bus and walking. We were all walking up to the car ride line. And so I'm glad we avoided that because the time that the tornado siren went off was school release time for Albert Harris, Riverview, and Patrick Henry. So I appreciate your patience. I always try to let you know ahead of time. I will always err on the side of safety, no matter what social media or anybody else says, because I cannot replace one student or teacher. Can't do it. And so if we have to make up days now, we'll do it. But we're not gonna have accidents and people get hurt. Can't do it. So thank you for your support. All of you were very supportive on that. Had a great principals meeting. Some of our schools, most of our schools have reviewed the 6-year plan, and I've gotten feedback. That's going to be coming to you. You will have 2 months to look at it. I'm going to give you a hard copy, and hopefully in April, by April, you can give us some idea of changes you want, if you want changes, and then you'll have to vote for that. Okay, and that'll take us through 2030. So we're excited about that. Power School, professional development, I'm very thankful for that. I thought the staff did a very good job of helping people, and you just saw that all into Angela and her staff did a great job. Had a great conference this week in Richmond. Thought we were going to get stranded because of the winds. I made it back in time. Travis made it to the central office. I made it to my house just as the sirens for tornadoes was going on. You can't cut it closer than that. But thanks for everybody that kept us in our prayers. We met with the city manager yesterday. She's very progressive and very supportive of schools. We're excited about the upcoming proposal of the 1% sales tax. And the city council really wants to help fund schools. And I asked for this 2 years ago, and we were not able to get it, and the other surrounding areas got it. So I'm very thankful we do have a council who is listening and understand that this may be the way for the whole state, because the General Assembly's planning to pass a law that cities school boards can do it on their own without permission. So that's going to be interesting to follow. Finally, my walkthroughs this week, exciting. I told you, Clearview, I saw them physically build letters. Never seen that done before. Pre-K. Kids, they actually have plastic things and assemble letters together. And I thought, what a unique way to help them remember, because it's hands-on. A lot of times what you do with your hands, you remember. I was excited about that. I'm sorry, it just blew me away today at Clearview. Patrick Henry, they were reading and had dinosaurs all over the place, plastic dinosaurs, all kinds of dinosaurs, which was good because the kids were really interested. And I tried to look up a word, and they didn't have time to look up a dinosaur I'd never heard of before. I think it's a flying dinosaur. Anyway, it was cool. At Albert Harris, they were working on recognizing what a variable was. And the way they were doing it with word suggestions and sentences, because most kids hate word problems and series. But it was really cool the way they were teaching that strategy, and I leave there and go to the middle school, and they're actually doing algebra with variables. And then you could see the connection, and that was cool. To see that like within an hour of each other was really, really cool. They were working on that and in algebra there. And then at the high school, my favorite lesson, because I'm a history major, and I taught that for 5 years in high school, they were working on a lost art, world geography. I'm sorry, that's exciting. You love that, I love geography. That was exciting. Longitude, latitude, which state of the United States is the furthest north outside of Alaska? That was great. And I helped with Teresa, we helped the kids figure that out by using longitude and latitude lines. Don't forget, latitude goes this way, longitude that way. Mike, you should remember that from your class. But I had a ball. I'm sorry, I got excited over that because I had a ball. In alternative ed, I went there, just talking to the students there and some counseling there. And I'm going to work on some attendance areas there. I think that's important. And also the bus garage, I talked with them. They were assigning trips, and we've got to make a good connection with that because we got so many activities. I'm serious. If you don't believe it, go there and sit for a while and watch what they have to do on their board. It's something. Then the shop area, I spent some time with the maintenance people during the lunch. So I'm done. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. For your brief report.
Hit us, sir.
Okay, matters from the board. Ms. Blankenbaker, do you have anything? Ms. Blackwell?
I do not.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Williamson? Y'all make me look back, because I'm gonna say some couple things. First of all, how exciting in all my years of teaching and being here to see the Department of Education picked up an article about our school system and then shared it with everybody in the state of Virginia. That is top notch. And I'm very proud of you. Is that, if it is twice, it's been recent. I mean, it sure didn't happen.
No, it never happened.
They've at least liked some of our other posts.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, that is wonderful, and thank you very much for that, and thank you for all they're doing with that program at Patrick Henry. That was very impressive last month. We enjoyed that. I wanted to touch base for a second on Tuesday's weather decision. People, once they find your phone number, they love to call and share. And, or better yet, I love it when they track me down at work and they want to share.
As long as they eat first.
They weren't, nobody was eating on Tuesday. They were all afraid to come out. I was very excited to hear from a former educator of 43 years here in our school system. And she called on Tuesday, and I thought, she called to chat. No, she called and she said, first thing this morning when I saw you all were closed, all I could think is all those days we went to school, when it was snowing outside, and we still going to, and she said, I thought, what are they thinking? And she said, this afternoon when the horns went off, and it was right when our babies would be getting out of school, and we're downstairs hiding because they saw something in Ridgeway, and she said, I realized there's a lot more to think about today than we used to have. And she said, and gone are the days you can say you walked to school in 10 feet of snow. She said, we have to think about everything, think about the fact that parents maybe didn't have childcare. They wouldn't be able to get their kids in the middle of the day if we'd done the 3-hour early dismissal. I loved her reminding me, and I already know this, and the teachers remind me often, a lot doesn't get done on those days that you get out 3 and 2 hours early. You may plan and try very hard and have a very engaging activity, but the students are thinking about, we get out early, it's just, it's like looking out for a snowflake.
Yes.
And so that benefited our students, and that as well as it benefited our teachers, and so thank you for that decision. Dr. Talley mentioned that City Council is going to propose to the General Assembly when they go later on this month the 1% sales tax. We are going to meet as a group, both boards together, to discuss that, what we would do, and we're also going to do a public thank you to them for pursuing that. We didn't have that opportunity 2 years ago when our neighboring counties did that. They have since benefited from that and have fixed buildings, they've done construction, they've done all kinds of things, and we should have that opportunity for our children. So I'm very happy about that. Again, as citizens worry about the tax, the thing is, it's a luxury tax. If you're choosing to buy those items, which a lot of us go to Walmart, which is in our neighboring county, or some of those other places, we don't even think about that extra. That's benefiting their kids. We'd love for people to benefit our children. So we're gonna have an opportunity to do that. My other comments will come under reminder of dates, so we'll move on to that. For our reminder of dates, we have Monday is a holiday for our students and our staff. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. January 16th is Governor's School meeting, and we're meeting in Danville at the Institute of Advanced Learning and Research. I want to go back and add a date that is one of the most important that I'm going to say to you. Please, parents, please, Mr. Symington, is he still back there with us? Please, please, please make an announcement tomorrow, and promise me you will. The local Martinsville Area Community Foundation, which is now under it's called the Western Virginia Community Foundation, they have moved up their scholarship deadline that used to be in March and April. It is now tomorrow. And it is so imperative that all of our students and our parents realize that. Someone posted it to be honest, a member of Charity League posted it because one of their scholarships that our students used to get a plethora of is now embedded under their overhead. Those are due tomorrow, I think by midnight tomorrow night. But it's so important that our counselors at the high school beat the drums and say, go do that, because scholarships for Charity League are local. There are tons of local ones. If you go to Baptist churches, they have you can go through there and pick out all sorts of things. Ms. Stokes is nodding because she's one of the ones that used to tell me when I had my students were still at high school and she was at the high school how important to go there. All of our kids have benefited from those things. It's so important, and I think a lot of people don't realize they've moved up their date to January 12th. Kids are still finishing applications and getting those in for school. They don't realize that those scholarship deadlines are tomorrow.
What's the name of it, Yvonne?
It's a Western Virginia
Community Foundation.
Community Foundation serving Western Virginia.
Yeah, I didn't know. Definitely didn't know.
And that is so important because, like I said, locally you've got the Charity League. I know there's the Baptist Church. Which one?
The Atkins Foundation.
Atkins Foundation. Now we've had several local folks who've passed away. I know they were trying to start scholarships. Don't know, I haven't looked for those, but I know they were trying to do one in memory of Mr. Mack, who was a band teacher here. I know they were doing one sports related for Mr. Wynn, who passed away. So there are all kinds of different things embedded in that. Please, please, that's so important. Okay, moving on after I've gotten off my soapbox. January 29th, we have our second public hearing on the budget. That evening, please encourage principals, encourage your parents. If they want to come out and share why they think it's important, or certain programs are important, things that are important that they want to see us still keep funding, we would love to hear from them. We used to have a packed house when I was a teacher. As a teacher, we were encouraged to come and, fight for things, or not necessarily fight for them, but just say, this is how it's impacted my children. We'd love to hear that. We'd love to see your parents. We'd love to know what they're thinking and hear what our audience thinks. February 12th is our next regular meeting. Right after that, I want to give this little notice on February 15th. The Special Ed Advisory Committee is meeting for their quarterly meeting, and at that meeting, their parent chairperson has called and reached out and wanted to make sure that I mention that. This is not for the special ed parents that have special ed students. She's going to have speakers there to help them learn about different things in the community that they can do to help their child, whether it's through the summer or during holidays or whatever. And she has Janet Boucher coming from the library to discuss different things there. And then Renee Slate from Pediatric Therapies, things that you can do. So sometimes I know people set their calendars early, and I wanted those parents to know that meeting is going to be going on that evening. 6 o'clock, is that right? 6 o'clock. So please join. And board members, you're welcome to come and see all the wonderful things that Dr. Tarpley and her folks are doing for our special ed parents. All right, any unregistered citizen comments? No, they're all gone. They're tired. Communications. Do we have any, Madison? Okay. All right. Then, pursuant to section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene in closed session for the purpose of discussing the following specific matters: discussion and consideration of the evaluation, employment, assignment, reassignment of employees of the Martinsville City Schools as authorized by section 2.2-3711A1 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. I need a second.
A second.
All right, and then Madison, I think you need to call roll for us.
All right, Gibbons?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Blackwell?
Yes.
Blankenbaker?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
All right, good night.